Okay, so ZinniaJones has posted up a video on technological pursuit of immortality, and I wanted to say some things about that. If and when those technologies do become available, and I can imagine different kinds of technologies. It could be something like a nanobot injection at a certain age. I mean, that would be the crucial issue. The crucial question is, at what age are you going to have this go on? Because I think we do recognize that we have a kind of life cycle that has developmental periods, and you're going to end up elongating one of those. Now you might say, well, you're going to elongate the whole thing. Yeah, but if you live to be 500, you're not going to have a 5 or a 10-year baby, in infancy. See, some of it's not going to make sense. So it is going to have to be screwing with or altering what are traditional developmental patterns in the life cycle of the human. But you can imagine, the person being 25 and they get an injection of nanobots and other forms of, I don't know, super high-end technology that goes through and works in cell plasms and other things and extends life radically. Or I guess you can imagine something like, again, the neural net download into a completely cybernetic system. I guess what I would say, again, if and when those become available, I, for one, am going to be a dyer. I want no part of the proposed life immortal or the death as an option. I really did find that video to be very problematic. Not in her argument. I think the argument is fine. The question is the meaning of human life such that, without death as a limit, it kind of, I don't mean to say literally, but it kind of makes life meaningless. Yeah, I mean, death is a gift. The awareness of death is that gift that makes life meaningful. I mean, that's my sense of it. I don't want to say it like this is a fact or something. This is just, you know, if you thought you could live forever, there'd be no reason to do anything. You could just do it later. There's a meaning structure that comes in. There's a humility and a recognition of one's place in the world. Now, someone might go, well, that place can change and it's subject to technological alteration. I would say, yes, it is. And at what cost? At what cost? I think somebody who has never read Simmel's The Philosophy of Money would be quite surprised if they took the time to really think about how distance and desire intermingle. That is, if you have everything that you desire without any distance, suddenly the things aren't very desirable. Distance is part of desire, and death as an ultimate limit, not only as, knowing that one ultimately will die, but that any time one could die, it animates life. It makes it bristle with possibilities. The thought of being able to circumvent that is in so many ways, again, it seems to be an argument that would, if taken, unwittingly rob people of major life structures, meaning structures in their everyday existence. Play some different cards, try it some different ways. Imagine that this technology is available and some person now has the ability to live to be 600 or 700, we'll say 1,000 years. Well, what happens when an accident happens and this person dies at a young age? It will seem to be even more of a travesty. See, I guess maybe a different way to say it is none of it even makes any sense. I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's possible. That is, if we have the nanobots that get injected and the body itself is prolonged into a kind of indefinite life, and we'll put, I don't know, we'll say 1,000 years I mean, I don't know, maybe people want to argue for more, indefinite life. It's going to go on for hundreds of thousands of years. Let's just push the envelope. Uh, will this person have children? Will they sit and watch all their friends die? How will they relate to the world around? So we're all going to go through this. Who do people think they are that they're entitled individually to gobble up the world's resources? See, some of it really starts to sound like the most arrogant, egomaniacal, self-centered people misunderstanding their very humble lot in a big, big place where death is the rule. You're standing upon a huge, huge death heap. That's what your life has made possible. I mean, next time you're enjoying some of your modern conveniences, just try to think of how much it was funded by fossil fuels, which is a huge reservoir of death. That's what that is. Um, it is hard to get at all of the ways that, as much as we don't want death and hardship and loss, that they're kind of gifts to our lives. They orient our lives. The fact of death is, I don't know, it seems to be, it's like, what do you say, I don't know, it's not something that I want to get rid of as much as I want to say that it's, you know, a major source of human hardship and sorrow and suffering, that it's what makes life meaningful and gives it an orientation and gives one, uh, I think, a more realistic understanding of oneself in relationship to others and to the others who have gone before us and to the others who will come after us. I don't know, I guess I think part of, and this is Simmel's stuff, the more that people are able to always have what they want, the less they know what's worth wanting. It's almost like they people need to have goals or aspirations. And I think you can have those without having the threat of death looming large. But if if limitations are removed completely, what will that mean? See, I mean, death is like the ultimate limit. And the thought of limitlessness, it sounds so great at first. But then I don't know if all of our the meaning of our lives wouldn't be just screwed with. We'd unwittingly unravel the very fabric of our lives. Um, I'm thinking here, I'm shooting this video, and the whole frame of reference of how long it would take. I mean, what would be the meaning of some person who's going to live to be thousands of years old when their attention span has been honed down to these little 2 and 3 minute videos where it feels like a long span of time to sit through just a 10-minute video? How how will time be experienced? See, I think there isn't this thing just called time, and then we have this subjective experience of it. I think there are many kinds of time. That is, memory is a vehicle that nature has used to relate to its own movement and change with different kinds of expanses. That is, what we call the subjective experience of time is actually one of nature's forms of time. It's just that we're a part of nature through which time is opening to itself with a kind of retaining and awaiting. I'm As much as I enjoyed the video and I thought it was provocative, I would like to hear what other people think about, first, I mean, the question of the feasibility of immortality technologies, but then ultimately the question of the meaning of your life. In what ways would the meaning of your life be better or worse if suddenly you could live to be, say, 1,000 or 5,000, or even just a couple of 100 years? We could raise that. To what extent would the kind of narcissistic egomania that's ever on the rise, this sort of celebrity star culture now gone fractalesque down into YouTube, I mean, to what extent will this just become unrelented? It sounds in some way like this goes back to the earlier video that I gave on the difference between Shrek and the Matrix. You know, uh, can we see that we are, we're worm food. We were born to die. There's something that just seems very suspiciously in denial of the humbleness of the human lot in such aspirations. Okay, thank you.